full and fruity. Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Lüning, Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today we have the Bowmore Devil's Cask, edition 3 here on my cask, and it's a rare bottle from Bowmore on the Isle of Islay. Why it's so rare? Well, because it's made rare. There are only a few casks bottled every year. And the bottles are, well, divided between the dealers in 1 to 3 quantity. So it's quite expensive, around 200, 300. And shortly after the issuing of this bottle, it is gone from the shelves, and then it's going to be a collector's item, and prices rise and rise. So I opened one of those bottles. Sorry for that, collectors, but it's good to have a look at a bottle and tell you what's in your collection. There is a tale on the Isle of Islay in the community of Bowmore, and this is a tale about the devil. And the small village of Bowmore has the harbor, and then a road going straight up the mountain, the small hill, to the church, and the church is built round. It's circular. And why have they built the church circular? Well, because that the devil might not be able to hide in a corner. I think it's a holy place. The devil shouldn't have an entry in that church. Well, and then the former inhabitants of Bowmore chased the devil, found him in the corner. No, found him in the circular church because there was no corner. And the devil flew to the Bowmore Distillery, which is close to the harbor, a little bit to the west on the seashore. And there he hid in a cask. And with this cask, he was shipped to the mainland. So there's no longer any devil on the Isle of Islay because it's shipped to the mainland. But these casks, devil's cask, have they brought the devil back again? I think here the story ends, and it's up to our fantasy how this works. It's marketing, of course. And the specialty of this limited release number 3 is that it's matured in 2 different casks, in Oloroso sherry casks and in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. And those casks are first fill. So it's a lot of aroma brought in from those both types of casks. But I'm afraid it carries no age statement, so I have no idea how old this whiskey really is. And for these 2 casks, it's called Double the Devil. Bearing dark exotic fruits, earthy angelica, and alluring trickle toffee. Non-chill filtered at 56.7% ABV. And what's said here? On the eye, deep mahogany, and with first fill Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez sherry casks, you have no need to color this whiskey, but they do not explicitly tell us that it's uncolored. So probably it's colored. I have no idea. Breath in a cornucopia. This is a strange word for me. Of rich, dark, exotic fruits, sultana, mango, and resin, fused with earthy angelica root and trickle toffee. Sip the smooth, rounded taste of date oil. I know dates, and those candied dates. Well, date oil, never had that. Chocolate fudge and salted trickle. Warmed by orange-laced Aruba coffee, so a little bit of bitterness. savor the long-lasting finish of smoked fruit cake. The first time they mention smokiness. Blood orange and sea salt. So here we go. Very few to none smokiness on the cork. So it's not this overwhelming smokiness in this whiskey. Full and fruity. A very distant alcoholic note, 56%. And this exotic fruitiness. Mango, papaya, raisins. The Oloroso sherry casks typically bring a fruitiness, and the Pedro Jimenez, they bring the sweetness, because the Pedro Jimenez wine, fortified wine, is quite sweet. The yeasts weren't allowed to convert the sugar into alcohol, and then they are stopped by adding brandy and giving the high alcoholic content of roughly 20% in the Pedro Jimenez sherry, but still having the sugar from the grapes. Sorry. But no sweetness, no. It's dark, it's full, it's fruity. Add a little water. I still have one whiskey to go today, so that I can't give the pure alcohol 56.7 on my tongue. No, this would avoid tasting another whiskey after this one. A little smokiness appearing. And this leads to a, yes, aromatic smokiness. A little sea salt. Oranges coming up. And vanilla from the fresh casks. Yeah. Full, strong impact, mouth-watering coffee. Soft bitterness, fruitiness, orange, blood oranges, smokiness coming up, yeah. And the coffee still stays on the tongue. Well, I had a Bowmore a few weeks ago, the Springtide. But I had so many different whiskies in between that I can't really tell the difference between those two. I remember the Springtide as more typical than the Devil's Cask, typically Bowmore. So this first fill casks move the whole character of the whiskey to the cask side, and the normal Bowmore has a mixture of first, second, third fill casks, and that brings the distillery character more to life. And that's the difference to this one. So this is as a strong vanilla note, which I never remember having had in a Bowmore. Fruitiness mixing up with the smokiness. Perhaps that's meant with the fruit cake. So I don't like fruit cake. That's always the last things. Staying on the table if all the sweets at Christmas are gone. Yeah. It brings your mouth so to life that you're sobering. So it's difficult. So the blood orange, a little saltiness coming up. So I'm not finishing this glass because there's, as I said, another whiskey waiting for me, but it's worth being savored completely. Don't spoil a drop. Thank you very much for watching. There's more to come. Stay tuned and feel free to discuss this bottle with me in our vlog or in our forum on Whisky.com.